Hello and welcome to my channel. Let me introduce you to Lighthouse, a Lightroom style tonal control for non-linear images for Pixinsight. Let me show you first how to install the script. You have to have the latest version of Pixinsight 1.9.4. You go to Resources, Updates, Manage Repositories and click Add. You'll have the repository link on my web page or post wherever you come from. This is the repository. Click OK. I already added, so it will show up here. Click OK and then go Resources, Updates and check for updates. Then it will show on your window for installation and just click OK and you'll have to reset the Pixinsight app. It will show in scripts Lighthouse Suite, Lighthouse app. Just click it and it will open, and that's it. Easy peasy Japanesey. This script is for non-linear images. After you've done your gradient removal, color calibration and stretching, then you are in this script doing the post-processing stuff. Many times when I do the stretch, it's hard to know where to go next. You have curves, you have histogram transformation, you have all kinds of tools that you can post-process your image. In times, it could be difficult to choose what tools are the best for your stretched image, and every object is different, right? So I managed to create this script that mimics the Lightroom sliders so it can be easier to edit the post-stretch images. Of course, all this can be done in Pixinsight with regular tools, but I find it easier with this script after stretching. So you can choose your image and the view. There are two versions of image you can you can edit. One with the stars and one is without stars. Of course, it will be easier to manage the starless image, of course, but you can always go with the image with stars, because a lot of these sliders has a protection, core protections for stars, so it doesn't create halos and rings and that sort of artifacts. So after you choose your image, you'll see your histogram. That is something we have in Lightroom, but I added the logarithmic histogram, which is more pronounced tones in highlights, so you can see the highlighted stars in the logarithmic histogram. It's a better view of the data you have. I leave it as a normal for now. Of course, you'll have white balance. That's the first thing in Lightroom. For some reason, if you forgot to color calibrate, you can use a picker and find let's say a perfect gray spot for the calibration, and it will calibrate like in Lightroom with temperature and tint. It's that easy. You can reset the sliders by double click, like in Lightroom, of course. And when you move it, you can drag it via mouse. Just grab it and move it on the slide. Or you can just press somewhere on the slider to make the movement. In Pixinsight, everything is measured from 0 to 1. That's a measurement that they use, so I did include it in the boxes on the left side of the sliders. So 0 is black pixel and 1 is saturated pixel. This sliders goes to -1 and +1. Let's say exposure is the only slider that goes to 5, because I did mimic that from Lightroom, because the Lightroom has 5 stops of light going on that slider. Everything else is actually 0 to 1. And now you see how the exposure slider works. So you can click it somewhere, you can drag it, or you can enter a number, let's say 0.5. So now it is on 0.5. Let me reset the slider to 0. I will mention that if you have a slower CPU, you can always click on the fast preview, because this render is a smaller resolution of the full resolution you have on the image. You can also get the full resolution for your image by pressing on this. So for slower CPUs you can use this, and for full resolution you can press this. And this by default is, let's say, a medium resolution for the previews. Also you have show preview. When you change something, let's say this, you can always see the original image you started with by pressing show preview. Also you have a monitor profile. If you have a calibrated monitor, you can find your calibration profile here and click on it, so you can manage the real colors to be provided via your monitor. If that's something you don't care about, you can just click it on auto detect, and that's it. Now let's start some processing. Let me reset this exposure. You can zoom with the mouse, scroll wheel, or you can zoom it here by simply plus and minus. Also you have a control. You can hold the control and press anywhere. It will have, you'll see here, it will have a readout for every channel. So readout for this particular pixel is 0.85 on red, 0.85 on green, and 0.85 on blue. And you can see here that if you have a saturated pixel, you can actually see it with this control click option. Okay, so let me have some contrast. I will not explain in detail what is behind the sliders, because they do mimic Lightroom style, but they don't copy it, because Adobe doesn't have free open source formulas for their sliders. They are guarded and we don't know how they are using it. It's a just simple version of the same, but a bit different. Let's say it's mimicking the controls of Lightroom, but it is not the Lightroom itself. There is some distinction because we are editing here already a 32-bit image or 16-bit image, and Lightroom is actually editing raw images. Those are not images, those are just raw data from the camera itself. So it's a bit different under the hood. So I will not explain that because it doesn't matter here. Okay, let me see and show you. This is a contrast boost, a bit of contrast. So highlights. Let me show you some highlights. because this is Orion, we have a big highlight bump here in the trapezium. So we don't see the trapezium actually, but because it's blown out, but that doesn't matter. But we can just lower the highlights and see what's going on. Okay, that's enough. Not bad. The highlights have additional slider here. It's called highlights recovery. It's set up on 0.5, and it's something that creates a contrast in the highlighted area, because when we set it on 0, we will lose that contrast in the highlight area when lowering down the highlights. So to compensate, I created additional sliders, so we do have some contrast and some texture. You can go overboard, but you'll have problem with stars if you boost it up to 1. You can see it here. Some of the star cores now has a little bit of gray in it, so you have to be careful, but you can have some additional contrast in the highlights when lowering down the highlights. This is the extreme version of the image, so that's why I'm including this into this introduction. Probably most of the images will be much easier to edit, and it will be much easier for you. Now that we established that, we can go to shadows. I don't want to lift any shadows, so I'll leave it as is. Whites also, I can do some lights to maybe have some more contrast, but I don't need to. And blacks, I want some blacks in my image. That's maybe too much. Okay, let's see the statistics of this pixel. It says 0.10, 0.12, 0.9. That is fine for me. I like to have 0.10 to 0.15 and the black part of the image where is only space. So let's say it's okay. And now we go to saturation and vibrance. So saturation is a global saturation for all pixels, and vibrance is it executes with the pixels that have a lower gradient of color. It boosts those, and those that have a bit more, it leaves those. So it's a more vibrant image. So that's why it's called vibrance, probably. So let's boost the vibrance here. So I see one problem here. I have let's say problem with the greens because the OST camera and I see a bit of green that I don't want to see. I will skip this texture and go to additional tools because I did add the SNR green for the removal of the green color cast. So I will just move the slider, let's say 43. It's a bit better. I cannot see the show preview because it will show me the original, but I can go this way. 0. Okay, let me do some more. 0.68. Okay, now it's much better. So additional tools. Also we have the inverse magenta removal. So you can inverse the image, and then this slider will remove the greens from the inversed image, and when you inverse it back, it will remove the magenta. So that's included in this little bit additional tool that Lightroom doesn't have, but Pixinsight does have, and it's important because we always have some problems with magentas on stars and the color cast of the green. So let's get back to the texture, clarity and the haze. So these sliders, you have to be careful. I'm still working on them because I don't like how they are doing, because the clarity is based on high pass. I will add maybe a pixel radius for that high pass, because it's important to have the pixel size. The default high pass pixel size is 10, so when I move the clarity it will produce this image. Okay, it is clarity, but it's already too strong on 0.32. When I go 0.68 it will destroy the image. So let's have 0.02. Maybe it's a bit better. Have to be very careful. Okay, let's say this is enough. And the texture is based on the mid-tone part, a little bit different than clarity and a little bit tighter. So you can see it's already having some effect, maybe too much. As I said, I'm still working on those because they tend to be too strong very fast. So it does the job now, and maybe it will be okay for the flat images that lacks contrast in textures and overall flatness or less contrast. The haze will remove any haze. I don't know if we have some haze in space, but I did include it because it's in Lightroom, and the effects is the same as one would have in Lightroom. It dehazes the whole image. I don't want that for this particular image, but maybe you'll have some images that will need it. So that's it. Maybe my favorite part is in the additional tools, Midtone Contrast, because it adds contrast and the midtones, and it protects the highlight and the black tones. So you can click a medium and have, I don't know, 0.7. It's a very soft contrast and midtones. It's actually for the final touch. I use it for the final touch when I'm missing a bit of contrast. So it does the perfect job. Of course, you can go high, you can go low, and you have a slider so you can see what suits you for the image you have at hand. Beautiful stuff. Okay, the last part is Luminosity Masks. I love Luminosity Masks. I did use them all the time in Photoshop, and they are great for astro images as well. So you have to enable them first by clicking Enable Luminosity Mask, and you'll have type lights and darks, as you can see, and depth. The higher number, the more focused masks is. So let's say we can show the mask in the preview, and I want a tighter fit, and then it will go a bit more on the highlights and less on the background. Let's say 3. Now we have the cores and the Orion core. And the mode, we can switch to target or protect. So the mask now is protecting these core stars and Orion, but if you want to target, we can target. So when I enable Luminosity Mask, all these tools are now working in the mask. So I'm targeting the depth 3, so this is a target, and every slider is now targeting that part. So I don't want to enable it now because I did process the image without luminosity mask. But what will I do now? I will go, let's say I'm happy with this, I will go apply and continue. So this will save this edited image, and I will continue editing on this new saved image. So click apply and continue. This could get a bit longer because if you have a fast CPU, it's okay. If you have a very large resolution, it will maybe take some longer time. Okay, so the sliders are now reset because this is a new saved image, and now I can enable luminosity masks. Let's say, I don't know, I want to target the highlights. Depth 3, show mask. Okay. We can also move the strength of the mask, so it doesn't have to focus entirely on the mask. If you have a 50% focusing, then the 50% will apply on the rest of the image via these sliders. So let's say I want to, okay, I will have mode 2. Let me show the masks. I want to boost the saturation. So I did boost a saturation a bit, only on those targeted parts of the masks. So this part is targeted, and it will apply the saturation. Maybe this part is not targeted 100% because it's not light that is very bright. This part is 100% and this part is, let's say, 60% covered with the mask. So what will I get with this? When I do the saturation boost on the masks, I don't get the color boosted stuff in the background. Sorry, let me. Okay, now like this. You don't see it here, but we can see it when I disable the masks. You see this color noise that we have when we boost the saturation, and then when I enable the luminosity mask, it disappears because the mask is targeting only the brighter pixels in the image, so everything else is protected or not affected. So this is a good way to maybe boost some more saturation in the lightest part of the image and maybe stars, and protect the background from color noise. We can apply and continue. Let's say I want this. Okay, and then I want to use darks. I don't want to protect them, I want to target darks. Let's first enable it. Show mask. So we are targeting the darks depth 1, so the black pixels are now targeted. Let me choose the depth 2, so we are moving away from the lights part. Okay, let's say this is okay. So if you have some residual pixels that are overpixelated, you can choose the darks, target the darks, not protect the darks, target the darks. and we can lower the resolution in the dark. So you can see now that we affected the background, and the star here did have some effect of lowered saturation. Let's say if you choose 1, sorry, not 1, 3, it's narrow protection or target for the darks. So you can see it's losing the saturation very, very slim. But we lost saturation in the background. So that way we can target things via those masks in the image. Very cool stuff and very powerful stuff if you want to protect and target brighter or darker pixels in your image. Okay, let's apply and continue. You can always save if you have some structure of sliders you like. You can save it via new instance like that, like in Lightroom. Sorry, not Lightroom, like in Pixinsight. And you can reset the whole sliders by pressing this. If you change something you don't like it, you want to reset the whole thing, just press the reset. One final thing, you can create a new image, of course, or you can apply it to existing image. So let's say I'm gonna create a new image, just apply, and it will create a copy. So you'll have a new image here. And this is the image we did some effects, but we can go. Okay, this is the beginner part. So we can see before after. It's not bad. It can be better, of course, with a starless version and then bring back the stars, but overall it's very good for me. So I hope you like the script. This is an ongoing process, so I will add some more sliders from the Lightroom, but I wanted to test the main ones first and see how that goes. The version is 1.1. I will additionally add some stuff from the Pixinsight that will help the overall editing, and I hope you like it. So you can subscribe to my Patreon or buy me a coffee to support the process, and I'll see you later, alligator. Bye.